SBMM, I've said this before and I'll say it again, man. SBMM is I dare say, killing video games as a whole. But it literally, I am playing against Giga Sweats with no rating. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm playing against guys that have like a 1.5 or a 2 or a 3 KD, and John's playing against 0.02.
Hello everyone, Sick here. Skill-based matchmaking ruined gaming for me. What was supposed to be implemented as a fun, fair system has now become a sweat fest. Regardless of whatever you play, skill-based matchmaking makes gaming as a whole sweatier than ever. Do you want to play a social game and relax? Well, too bad social is played with skill-based matchmaking. You'll be matched with players similar to your skill, meaning you will have to sweat to keep up. My thought on this whole system is that skill-based matchmaking should be reserved for rank only, so you can enjoy a chill experience when you play social. Why do you think Call of Duties back in the day were so successful? It was a mix of tryhards and bots. If you were having a difficult time against the tryhards, you could at least get a morale boost by destroying the bots. The tryhards, for the most part, seemed few in number compared to your average player. If you didn't like the lobby, you could easily back out and research a different mode to improve your odds if that single tryhard was ruining your gaming experience. Now it feels like all players in the lobby ruin your experience. Want to find a new lobby? Too bad, skill-based matchmaking will plague you with a tryhard game every time. All the players in the lobby are at your exact same skill level, so that means you can't really get a break, and you always have to be on top of your toes to get a kill.
I think the people who are having a problem with skill-based matchmaking and it's negatively affecting their experience are players who exist in like this range, like right around here. So let's take a player right here. This is TimTheTatman. So TimTheTatman, he's a pretty good player. He's better than the average. He hops into casual and he has to play against players in this range. Now, players in this range, they know how to play the game. They know what the meta weapons are. They know how to set up their loadout. They know where to go. They know what to do. If you don't play a certain way, you are going to get dumpstered on when you're playing against these guys. If you remove skill-based matchmaking, follow me here, I have a really good point. Our TimTheTatman could play against anybody. Now, because there's more players in the middle, if it's completely random, there's a much higher chance that most of his lobbies are going to be these players. It's going to be average players. And somebody who's pretty good can then take it easy, go a little bit off brands with the loadouts, goof around, and still own some noobs.
I personally find myself in the TimTheTatman range when gaming. I'm not an uber pro, but would definitely say I'm in the higher portion of this normal distribution, being in Onyx and Halo, for example. We want a casual experience by playing the numerous amount of average players that exist in the peak of the normal distribution. Skill-based matchmaking prevents us playing against these players unless it's a very low population day. As many of the Xbox 360 generation players are now in our late 20s and early 30s, we have families, jobs, and many other responsibilities. Consistently gaming like we could back in the day is very difficult. So after a long day of work, you finally hop back on to have some fun. Actually, sorry, not even a long day, a long week of work. You finally hop back on the weekend to have some fun. The issue with skill-based matchmaking is that it assumes you never stopped playing. You are technically still warm from your previous matches that you played last weekend. Despite being rusty, you get thrown into a lobby that is likely full of sweaty, consistent players, leading to a rough start that discourages you. Maybe after a few games you finally start doing well, but this takes about 3 hours, which you don't have time for anymore. This leads to a not so fun gaming experience that takes a lot of play sessions to finally adjust to your decreased skill. If you have more time to play and you commit to a 6-hour game session and you finally get warm again and start doing well, all this progress only hurts you. You'll have to get off during the week again for your responsibilities, and the next time you hop on, you'll have a miserable time. Skill-based matchmaking assumes you only focus on gaming and doesn't consider break periods at all. Matchmaking has improved the experience for bots by making bots play bots. The very, very casual players that lack skill are having a decent time at the expense of the better players. In my opinion, skill-based matchmaking ruins a bot's development of skill when gaming. Playing against the good players that know the meta is a learning point for the bots. I'm not saying that bots should be paired against pros all the time, but every once in a while, a bot playing a good player would not be a bad thing. If they beat the pro at their own game, they can learn what works and doesn't work and improve their skill much faster than if they had just been playing bots. A challenging experience leads to a quicker improvement for bots. Back in the day, bots still kept playing the game even if they were getting destroyed every once in a while. There would always be those players that continue to play despite doing bad because they were able to experience a challenge and wanted to improve. Skill-based matchmaking has also rewarded the sweaty player with an everlasting environment of competition that drives them to improve their skills to climb the hidden ranks. This is great for them, but less ideal when they want to switch and go to a more casual game. Let's say you want to party up with a friend that is much better than you. Good luck, because your game is going to be ridden with players that are much better than you. This system flaw in some games means partying up is also not enjoyable. Sometimes your rank in ranked will affect your social queue in a hidden ranking system, or your skill-based matchmaking system. Do too well, you will face the giant. Perform too poorly, it'll take multiple games before we finally start giving you easier games, about 4 hours later. The system seems to be quick to adapt to improvement, but slow to react to regression. This whole skill-based matchmaking system is stimulated by the fact that you can no longer party up like you could back in the day. You could also just keep the lobby going by simply not backing out. Did you like the lobby? Great. You can stay and keep playing. Random players would swarm in with various skills, meaning your experience could change slightly, giving the lobby a dynamic experience that mainly stayed true to the core reason why you enjoyed the lobby in the first place. Nowadays, I believe you are forced out of the lobbies so the game can adjust your skill-based matchmaking rank based on your last game. Forget community features or making friends, skill-based matchmaking is more important. The day of picking up the controller to chill and relax with friends is in the past. Getting a squad together to wreck on lobbies is over. Random chance lobbies that you enjoy are over. Skill-based matchmaking destroyed what we used to love about gaming. How can you have fun playing with skill-based matchmaking? Well, the only real viable solution that we have is focusing on a few games at a time, but it's preferable if you only play one. If you spread yourself out among too many games, your skills in each of those games will not be as great as if they would be if you only focused on one. Being spread out leads to less skill across all games, meaning you will likely get destroyed most of the time, especially if you take a break. This is why for many people, including myself, we are caged on only a game or two, that's it, just 1 or 2 games. If you spread yourself across many multiplayer games, you will get annihilated because you can't keep up. To keep up, you must focus on only one game. For me, that is Halo. If I switch to another game and come back, it takes me a few days to get back on the swing of things to get competitive again, to somewhat enjoy the games I'm playing with skill-based matchmaking. Forget warming up, because the game will not give you a warm-up despite taking a long break. Skill-based matchmaking has caused a new problem: Smurfs. Smurf accounts are created not only to boost friends, but also make the game more enjoyable. Smurfing allows the player to reset their skill-based matchmaking and play bots for the first time in a long time. After skill-based matchmaking catches up with the player, which doesn't take too long, a new Smurf is created. Halo is plagued with them because all the pro and very good players can't rank up anymore, they can't find games, etc. So Smurfs allows them to play again. Smurfs ruin both the ranked and casual structure because decent players like myself can't progress at all because of these pro Smurfs. So what do you guys think of skill-based matchmaking? Are you cool with it? Do you despise it? Leave a comment down below, and thanks for watching.